Hi scrapbookers, this is Kathy Rigby from creativecutter.org, and this is my first video, and I would like to show you a kind of fun project. I'm going to keep it short and sweet today, make sure that I get the hang of this video thing. But these little treat bottles that I really like, I filled them up with little red hot treats here for Valentine's Day, but this would make a great gift at a wedding, one of the little giveaways you can do, or you can do these for every holiday. It'd be really fun, instead of a heart, to do other shapes for different holidays. So I know it's almost Valentine's and there might not be time to get this done for that, but there are a lot of other occasions where you can use these. I've got these cute little bottles here that I purchased from papertray.com. They're super cute, a nice small size, just enough for some candy. You could put some treats in there of any kind. Even some bath salts would be really nice. But I'm going to show you today how I decorated that so that you can give to someone. I am calling it the key to my heart. You can see there's a little key there on the front, and so we're going to get ready to do that. I used my Cricut cartridge, a brand new one, Love Struck. It's one of the new mini carts that's out right now, especially for Valentine's. And I used this heart right here. I don't know if you can get a good shot of that, but it is a shadow to the heart that's right above it. But we needed a good solid image to put our little stamped heart on in front, and so I used that shadow shape from the Love Struck cartridge. And I designed it on my design studio so that it would be about 2 inches tall and 2 inches wide. It's small enough to fit on here. So if you don't have Design Studio, you could probably cut the heart out at about 1.5 inches and get the same result. I also cut out a shape. Here's my mat from Cricut. That's the heart that I've cut out. I also cut out a little rectangle, and that's so that we can attach the heart to the bottle. And I used my Design Studio again and just used a rectangle that I stretched and sized to the size that I needed to create that. And you just want to measure around the bottle. This one is about 2.5 inches long and about 1/2 inch tall, and it's a rectangle that I got from Base Camp and then just stretched to the size that I needed. The first thing you want to do is, because that's a little stiff, I used basil to cut this out, is just take a marker or a pencil, something round, to kind of smooth that curve into the strip. And you're just going to set that aside. And we're going to work with the heart. It's a little plain. It's a really cute heart, but it's a little plain, so I wanted to add a little bit of dimension to that. And what I did is took a heart that I stamped and embossed, and I enjoy using pigment inks when I stamp and emboss, and rather than go through the expense of buying a bunch of embossing powders, I just went to my local craft store and bought a giant size bottle of this clear embossing powder, and they sell it at pretty much all of the scrapbook stores in the stamp or card section, card making, stamping section. And I use my pigment inks because they stay a little wet longer, and I use that instead of a tinted embossing pad to hold that clear embossing powder to the image. So I would just stamp it. The pigment ink stays a little wet a little longer, as I mentioned, and so you can just pour the clear embossing powder over that, and this will still emboss a shiny red like you can see these are. I hope you can get a good look at that. These images are raised and they're shiny, so once I heat that shape right there, it will turn into what these hearts are, and it's a nice embossed image that's raised and ready to use. So I'll heat that one up a little later because I'm going to make a few of these, but I'm just going to grab my scissors and trim off one of these hearts. Now I wanted that little red heart to stand out against the red solid heart, so I'm just going to leave a little bit of a border around this. So I'm going to get in there close, but leave just enough white that you can see it will stand out against the red. And you can do as much or as little as you really want to do. And it doesn't have to be really precise. I can curve around here, not really get into the small little details, but just get in there enough so that you can tell what that image is. Now this little heart in here with the swirls came from a stamp set also called Love Struck by Making Memories, and I'll show you that here in just a sec. This was out especially for Valentine's, and I thought it was a really cute set, and I'm using this particular heart, but you can see there's a lot of options there. Even that really sweet little Cupid with his bow and arrow would be a great option for these bottles. The kiss on there is really sweet, so a lot of options. And like I said, you can do this kind of a thing for every holiday. But there's our little heart ready to attach to the center of that. What I'm going to do is put it on with dimensionals. I know a lot of people out there really enjoy the Stampin' Up! Dimensionals, but I just wanted to suggest another option for those out there that haven't seen this before. This is just a roll of matte tape. It is foam tape made by 3M. Has this green plaid on there. It is acid free and archival quality, but the reason I like using this foam tape rather than dimensionals is that I can make these any size I choose, and so I can do bigger strips, smaller strips. If I need a little teeny tiny dimensional, I can just trim one of these down and they go flying and put that on there, and I can just get any size that I want for any coverage that I need. So I really enjoy using the foamy tape. This is, you can tell that one's a used roll. They come in these big amounts and they're about $4. So it's a really great value for a lot of foam tape, a lot of dimensional. Now if you wanted these to be thicker, you can pile them one on top of another and you can get an even bigger raised amount. I just want a little dimension on that, so I'm just going to place that right there. And that's pretty cute on its own, but I like to add just a little bit more detail to really make that heart stand out. So the first thing I'd probably do is go in here with a little ink and maybe ink a little white on that, just to add a little bit more. And you can do all of these differently, or if you're doing them for a wedding, you can make them all the same. It would be really sweet to add the names of a couple if you're going to do these for a wedding. For Valentine's though, I'm just going to add a little bit of detail in here. And this heart looks almost scalloped because it's got this little bumpy edge. It's not exactly a scallop, but it's a nice little detail that I wanted to stand out. So I'm just going to take my marker and kind of follow that around the edge, and I'm not being extremely careful or precise. I just want that little bit of detail to stand out just a little more. So you just use one of your craft markers and you just get in there and follow the lines. It's really nice that a lot of die cuts have contour lines or embellishment lines, and really all you have to do is just follow the lines. Not a whole lot of artistic detail needed, just a little bit to make that stand out. So that one's pretty much ready to go. On one of these, as you can see, I added a couple of little holes. I hope you can see that, just as another way of embellishing that. So you can do it that way, or you can leave it plain. This one I'm going to leave a little plain. And now I'm going to punch out my little heart. This is just a little punch by Marvy that's of a little baby key, and these are super tiny. I'm going to punch one out in white just so that you can see how tiny that is. And what I did on one of these is I added a couple of keys at the bottom of the bottle so that after you get the treats out, the person who receives this as a gift will have received also some keys to that heart. So I thought that was a fun little surprise at the bottom there. But I just wanted you to see how tiny those are. You probably need to get some tweezers out to move that around, so I'm going to have my tweezers ready. And now I'm just going to punch this out of black. There's my little, oh, come on. It's getting